Hi everyone, and welcome to Weekly Cooking with Becky. All right, so some of you guys caught my live video in the middle of last week where I was asking what to cook this week since I'm alone. And I was trying to figure out a 4-day recipe that I could eat on repeat, and I asked for exact recipe suggestions. So what I'll say is I did not get an exact recipe suggestion. But some of you guys mentioned a broccoli meat stir fry. I have a video of that already, and some of you mentioned some chicken dishes, and I literally did one last week. I would recommend seeing last week's one with the jalapeno popper chicken casserole, and then I have a whole bunch spread through there. But there was one comment that stood out. I'm gonna grab a drink from my Stanley real quick. There was one that caught out to me, which was the mug cake, and this is from a person that was allergic to almond flour and wanted to do, and was like, you could do a single serve dessert every day, but do coconut flour instead. Now, you can't really do a coconut flour mug cake. You can, there are recipes for them. Here's the problem, and I've tried this over 4 years. When you do a pure coconut flour mug cake, they're dry. And that's why there's usually a coconut almond flour combination. You can do a full-size cake, but a mug cake with coconut flour is a dry cake. So what I did was I figured out that this person is probably allergic to the nuts. So I found a flour-free. So I want to make sure I make that person happy with using we're gonna do a mug cake. So this is for the person that is allergic to nuts, and to any of you allergic to nuts. And we can do this and hopefully have a moist cake, but without any flour whatsoever. You need 3 ingredients. I might add a 4th. So here we go. You're supposed to mix it directly in the mug, but I'm gonna try to serve it and make it look pretty. So I wanna grease my mug. Normally you wouldn't have to do this, so I'm gonna do it in a bowl. Let me aim down. All right, so in this bowl, I simply have my sweetener of choice. It tells you how to do it if you have stevia and how to do it if you have any other sweetener. I have my egg and I have my Dutch powder, and it says to use a little whisk and just simply mix it up. So I don't want to get this out. I'm trying really hard. But you don't need a big bowl, but I am trying to keep that powder in there. All right. This is harder than it looks, keeping it in the bowl. I did just clean my counter, so I'm gonna salvage that. Whiskey, whiskey. Mixy, mixy. Okay, this is taking me a little bit because I needed a bigger bowl. I'm gonna hit pause because this flour is going everywhere, and I'm gonna keep mixing and then I'll transfer it in. So how about I see you back here in just a minute and use the bigger bowl or just mix directly in the mug. This is just because I'm gonna do a photo. So I'll see you in a minute. All right, so I am mixed. So we're gonna add it to the microwave cup, which I just sprayed. And these are the 3 ingredients. I am gonna do one other ingredient that I do to almost any mug cake, that is chocolate. Sometimes I do it to my vanilla ones, just, you know, you'll see why in a minute. But definitely do it to my chocolate one. Some of you guys in the last 2 videos have probably heard a lot of little tiny noises in the background. We've added a new puppy to the house, so if you ever hear little squeaks and stuff to the background, he's just a little bit playful. Okay, so give that a quick rinse. Now, what I like to do, it kind of helps keep any mug cake moist, is just add 5 or 6 Lily's chips right into the mug. That's just a trick that I learned way back when. You don't have to do that. Okay, It literally says 45 seconds. Let it cool for a minute and enjoy. I'm gonna try to slide mine out onto a pan. It also suggests topping it with like a sugar-free syrup and some powdered sugar. So I have powdered Swerve and I do have sugar-free syrup. So I will be back for that and we'll see what the taste test. Okay, I think I got my photo before all of my powdered sugar melted because it's still nice and warm. So the picture for you guys should be nice and pretty. And here we go for the taste test. It is still very warm. That is really good. You totally, I don't know how well you can see the inside. You don't need flour. The structure holds up really, really well. It's not necessary. It's a very moist cake. I recommend adding a handful of Lily's or Baked Believe chocolate chips, but I don't know if you necessarily need to. Mug cakes are always best eaten warm. That's one of the things that they're known for. You just bake them, top them, and eat them. Maybe a little bit of whipped cream sprinkled on top. Take it out to your seat and enjoy. So that is literally something that you can whip up in less than a minute if you don't transfer it and you just make it directly in the mug. 45 seconds and you're good to go. And at 2 net carbs, it's a great afternoon treat. So yes, if you're eating alone or you're the only one in your house doing a low carb keto type lifestyle, this works. And by the way, no matter your allergy, you can eat this one. So it's a win for so many people. Hope you enjoy it and I'll see you next time. Bye.